Every chased me to you for 3 years we were engaged. Mason slipped his arm around some pretty young thing and told his buddies, I stopped feeling anything for Win ages ago, she's the one begging to marry me. This time I hurled the engagement ring into the trash and walked out of the Sterling mansion for good. He assumed I'd come crawling back within a week, just like every other fight. Then gossip columns splashed photos of me dining with a mysterious man. Mason panicked, bombarding my phone. Win, are you done throwing your tantrum? Get home. I snapped a picture of the sculpted abs beside me and hit send. Busy. 01 Mason had promised to spend my birthday with me. He rolled in at 9. He flicked one cursory glance through the living room arch and jogged upstairs alone. When he came down, freshly changed, he was already heading for the door. Mason, I stopped him. He didn't turn. Contract negotiation tonight. Do you even remember what day this is? I asked, voice cracking. He sped up. We'll talk when I'm back. The car shot off into the bitter wind. I sat for an hour, bitterness and hurt swirling with nowhere to land. Brooks finally broke the silence. Win, shall I warm the food? I stood, calm as glass. No need. I climbed the stairs. Bedside stools were buried under Mason's cast-off clothes and shoes. While I folded, my phone chirped. Best, you said romantic birthday for 2, so why is Mason here? 8 dudes, 30 hostesses, what the hell? Listen to the crap he's spewing. A video popped up. My finger shook as I pressed play, smoke coiled, bass thumped, faces slack with drink. Mason had a cigar in one hand, the other clamped on a girl's waist. Win? I'm over her. She's the one desperate to marry me. You two were the golden couple, and she's gorgeous, how can you let her go? Kid stuff, man. Feelings fade. She clings to the past, annoying as hell. Plus Win's too prim, zero spice. The screen froze, my mind blanked, heart ripped open. I stayed on the bed's edge till sunrise, Mason still missing. At dawn I made the decision. 02 I started packing. On the desk sat a 10-year-old snapshot, 2 kids in white uniforms, wild sunny grins. I smashed the frame, clawed the photo free, and burned it. He'd called it ugly plenty of times. Morning light bled in as Mason staggered back, reeking of whiskey. He collapsed without a word. When I wheeled my suitcase past, his eyes slitted open. Where to? Home. When will you be back? I won't. He bolted upright, gaze blazing. Win, what the hell does that mean? I kept my voice level. We're done. Say it again. I slid the engagement ring off and flicked it onto the duvet. Mason, it's over. Mason flicked a bored glance at the ring, smirked, and flopped back. Fine, Win. If you're so tough, don't ever crawl back. I'd threatened to leave countless times in 3 years, and always returned. This time the door shut for good. 03 Joella stuffed a Lamborghini with fireworks and booked the entire Velvet Lounge to celebrate. I hadn't stepped inside a club in ages. She cussed for 2 straight hours. I've wanted to punch that jackass since he came back from abroad with a new girl every week. You, blind saint, loved the loser forever. You're the Hartley princess, head designer, men would line up around the block. I knocked back a shot and smiled. Not anymore. Never again. Hey, don't cry, I wasn't yelling at you. She fumbled for tissues while I sobbed against her shoulder. I'd held everything in too long. Mom died, Dad remarried a trophy wife, produced a son, and suddenly I was the spare part. Victoria and her boy mocked me, Dad never believed a word, and I turned timid. Mason had been the first light in that darkness, shielding me from every bully. Back then I thought we'd last forever. Met at 13, in love at 17, split at 20, reunited at 23, only to become strangers. While Mason was overseas he kept dumping me by text. His roommates mailed me pictures of him with new girlfriends. I refused to believe, even when I saw the intimate selfies. He hadn't wanted the engagement, but the families twisted his arm, so he nursed a grudge. I survived on old memories, praying the passionate boy I knew would return. Obsession, I learned, costs everything. 04 13 years gone, age 27, growing up happens in a blink. I let the pain wash out with my tears. Joella slammed the table. Screw it, I'm calling 100 hot guys. Fall off a horse, climb back on a stallion. I laughed through sniffles. You think I loved Mason just because he's handsome? I get it, but Mason collects women like watches. Why couldn't you ever fool around? Feel something new? Her phone overheated. We ended up with a packed booth instead of 100, but the view was spectacular, row after row of gorgeous 20-somethings. Glasses clinked, vodka blurred the edges of the world. Through the haze I spotted a lone man in a black cashmere coat, long fingers wrapped around a crystal tumbler. Every move radiated controlled lust. Too tipsy to see his face, I tugged Joella. "Who's that?" She squinted, swaying. "Where? Which hottie?" I shoved her aside and drifted over, tilting my head to study him. Sharp brows, star-bright eyes, lips carved for sin. Someone bumped me. I tumbled into his lap and locked my arms around his neck. He stayed still, gazing down, calm as midnight. I tightened my hold. "Have we met before?" He lifted a brow. "Where, do you think?" "Right before the world ended." A low laugh rumbled in his chest. He splayed a hand on the small of my back and bent to my ear, breath feathering my skin. Shivers raced through me. His voice dropped to velvet. "I've been waiting for you, Win." My heart slammed like a bass drum. Our eyes locked, hunger to hunger. I pulled his mouth to mine and nipped his lower lip. "Let's go somewhere else." I don't know who started it, but we kissed all the way to the Grandview. The second the door clicked shut he pinned me to the wall, mouth hot and demanding, teeth scraping my lip. The sting snapped me halfway sober and I punched his chest twice. "That hurts," I snapped. Instantly his touch softened. He cradled my face, thumbs brushing my brows, my eyelids, the bridge of my nose, my lips, drifting lower. I trembled so hard my knees almost folded. He lifted me onto the bed. Just as he yanked my shirt free, he froze. Propped on one elbow, he stared down at me. "Win, do you know who I am?" I squinted. The planes of his face felt familiar, but the memory wouldn't come. I fisted his tie and tugged him closer. "I know. Hurry up." He crushed me against him, voice gravel at my ear. "You came after me, Win. No backing out now." After that, everything fractured, breath, cries, the world itself, until a phone shrilled me awake. Joella's shriek blasted through the speaker. "Honey, baby, who the hell did you run off with? You were gone when I woke up, half a second longer and I'd have called 911. The other side of the king bed was empty, sheets cold. My clothes lay folded on the chair. If it weren't for the ache between my thighs and the red love bites mapping my skin, I'd have sworn I'd dreamed the whole thing. I mumbled something incoherent. Joella read between the lines. "Cute, right? How was the ride?" "Damn, Win, I'm impressed." Weird, his face stayed blurry. I did remember my name falling from his lips all night. Did he actually know me? Panicked, I scrambled up. A slip of paper sat on top of the pile, a phone number. I tossed it toward the nightstand. Joella burst in 5 minutes later. "First question, protection?" I pointed at the trash can. She exhaled. Then she snatched the paper, grinning. "Oh ho, digits left behind, looking for round 2? Any guy who survives your bedroom has me curious. I'm prank calling him." I lunged too late, she'd already hit dial. A low male voice answered. "Hello?" Joella's smirk froze. A beat passed. "Win," the voice tried again. Our eyes locked. Joella slapped the PH. "One dead. I think he knows me." I yelped. Joella hopped in frantic circles. "Girl, that's Chase. 06 Chase?" I hadn't heard the name in almost 10 years, high school classmate, barely a word exchanged. Now he headlines business magazines, the youngest conglomerate heir in Eastbrook. And last night I'd, even worse, back then he and Mason had never gotten along. Joella couldn't sit still. "Chase, Jesus. A walking fantasy. Honey, you hit the jackpot, sleeping with that man is like winning the lottery." The night had been pure release, I couldn't dwell. I sure as hell wasn't going back to Hartley Mansion, so I moved into the condo I'd bought years ago. Joella booked our favorite brasserie to celebrate my independence. Walking past a private room, I spotted Mason through the open door. Laughter spilled out. "So, President Sterling, you and Win are really over?" She's the one who walked. "Please. Everyone knows Win can't live without you. You two break up every other month." She'll crawl back, begging. More giggles. "Hey, how long do you give her this time? 5 days? 2 weeks?" Mason's confident smile. "A week, tops." I gave my own serene smile and glided past. Joella kept dropping by, dragging me to Velvet. I turned her down. Work had piled up, commissions, sketches, renders, no time to breathe. 2 weeks later my phone rang. "Win, you played me," the man snarled. I hesitated. "Chase? Thought you'd forgotten." "Fair enough. Weren't you the one who bolted first?" Silence stretched. Then, "Want to test me again and see if I run this time?" 07 test him I did. Chase invited me on the Celestial's maiden voyage. Perfect, since the jewelry designer I idolized was hosting a trunk show on board. I accepted instantly. I downed 2 flutes of champagne for courage, introduced myself to the designer, swapped iMessages, and lost count of refills. When the deck seesawed beneath me, I gripped the rail, wind whipping my hair. Chase appeared with a bottle of water. Having fun? I chugged Elf. The best. I haven't felt this free in ages. Good. Only then did I realize I'd ignored him all day. He hadn't shown a flicker of annoyance. I shifted, sheepish. Sorry, Chase. I got starstruck and forgot you. He lit a cigarette, shrugged. No apology needed. The trip's for you. The breeze carried salt and his cologne, his face blurred into gorgeous streaks. A wave slapped the hull, my heels skidded, and I crashed into his chest. He steadied me. Okay? I wrapped my arms around his waist, cheek to his sternum. Dizzy. Need bed. He carried me to my suite. Sunlight speared my eyes the next morning. Chase, white robe, damp hair, wheeled in a breakfast cart. I looked down, same robe on me. Did we, again? His slow grin. Hartley, planning to take responsibility this time? I squeaked. Condom? His gaze dimmed. Kidding. You threw up, on me. Steward's washing our clothes. Thanks, I muttered. He buttered toast. Are you really done with Mason? Yes. For good? For good. I was wondering why the interrogation when color rose on his cheeks. Eyes locked on mine, he asked, dead serious, then can I court you? 08 I sat there blinking, neither yes nor no. Later I told Joella. She exploded. Why the hell not? That walking fantasy can play me and I'd thank him. I can't. Listen, babe, lesson learned, keep them hungry. Chase checks out. No red flags, no psycho exes. Toy with him a little, let him earn it. I didn't dwell, maybe he was just bored. While we shopped, my phone vibrated nonstop, 7 new iMessages. Mason, for the first time since the split. Photos first, then accusations. Who is this guy? Explain. You've been cheating on me the whole time, haven't you? The photo was of Chase and me on the boat, his arms around me, lifted in a pose so intimate it made me laugh through my anger. Already broken up, none of your business. Joella snatched the phone, furious. He still dares to lecture you? Rabid dog. She typed a torrent of ancestral insults. Babe, you're too easy to bully, too soft. Curse him out a few times and see if he dares open his mouth again. I really didn't know how. I never had. Being with Joella had already made me braver than ever before. Still unsatisfied, Joella switched to her own account and cursed him again. Then she hugged me. Pet, nice people get trampled. We're going to toughen up and defend our pride. I nuzzled her. Okay, I'll listen. We lost the mood to shop, so we went home and slept. 09 that evening Chase rushed in, his tie askew, a strawberry cheesecake box swinging from his hand. He actually knew I loved sweets, but had quit them to stay in shape. I sliced the cake onto plates. Why the hurry? He watched me. Joella said you were in a bad mood. I was afraid you were alone. No wonder she'd bolted this afternoon with a pile of excuses. I burst out laughing. Afraid of what? I'm not a kid. You always feel half-grown to me. Back when I fought Mason you hid way off, remember? That brawl between him and Mason had scared me of all violence, and I'd hated him for a while. I posted the cake on Instagram, being remembered as happiness 2. Mason lost it in the comments, who remembers you? Don't push your luck. Joella battled him blow for blow beneath it. I pretended I didn't see. Chase asked, you cook for yourself when you're alone? No time. Then I'll cook for you. Huh? Before I could refuse he'd called his assistant to haul groceries over. From then on he took charge of every meal. The flavors were average but healthy. He never crossed any line, work, gym, those wide shoulders tapering to narrow hips, abs stacked like armor, every stolen glance had me swallowing hard. Damn, he was fine. After almost a month I realized I was enjoying it. During dinner the phone kept buzzing. Mason had been texting for days, demanding my address in that imperious tone of his, threatening me not to regret it. Expressionless, I muted it and flipped the phone face down. Ta. Essie glanced over. Who? I said flatly, a rabid dog. He asked nothing more. Later, while he did dishes, I poured myself a glass of red and leaned on the balcony rail, watching his back in the kitchen. When he finished he draped the apron over a chair and walked over. Bad mood? I drained the wine. Chase, do you want to be with me? Yes. I've wanted it for a long time. 10 I set the glass down, walked up, slid my arms around him, and kissed him slowly. His voice was low at my ear. So you're saying yes? I answered with more kisses. Finally he lifted me. Living room. Sofa. bathroom, bedroom. The moment I begged for mercy, he drove harder. When you started this. Dawn broke before we collapsed, and for the first time I fell asleep feeling safe in someone's arms. When I woke, missed calls carpeted my phone. Mason's texts had shifted from bullying to bargaining. When, enough drama, come home. This is the last chance I'll give you. In every earlier breakup I'd been the one pleading. This was the first time he'd told me to come back. But I never wanted to go back again. I eased the quilt off Chase, aimed at his abs, snapped a photo, and sent it. Busy. Mason rang at once. I fumbled and the phone bounced onto Chase's chest. Half awake, he glanced at me, raised the phone high, and answered. When? Who the hell are you with? Chase smiled. President Sterling, long time no hear. I died inside, burrowing under the covers while he pulled me against him. Mason ground out, Chase? Put Win on. Can't. She's kind of tied up on top of me. Can I call you back when we're finished? Chase, have you no shame? But I do have a girlfriend. Teehee. I shook with laughter, the line went dead. We clung to each other and laughed for minutes before it faded. Suddenly he asked, hungry? I'll cook. As he got up I caught his hand. Chase, let's be together. 11. He froze. Say it again. Let's be together. With a whoop he dove back under the quilt and squeezed me breathless. Win, I'm so happy. I pushed him, blushing. Go cook, I'm starving. Once more first. He yanked the quilt over us with one hand. Before, I'd acted partly on impulse and kept waffling, but once we were official I felt eerily calm. Life with him was easy, he didn't complain about my overtime, my mediocre cooking, the extra half-inch on my waist. Joella declared it a match made in heaven. Mason kept texting, Chase had been a thug, entangled with countless women, I'd never be happy, there'd be no future, basically describing himself. Annoyed, I blocked him. Leo invited me to his birthday. We were classmates, old friends, and Mason's buddy. If this is a setup for Mason, don't bother asking, I told him. Come on, Win, we've known each other forever, don't ice me out, he pleaded, lowering his voice. Old Mason really knows he screwed up. He's been miserable, drinking every day. None of us have ever seen him like this. After so many years, give him a chance? I actually laughed. If I mattered to him he'd do something to win me back, not play drunk and tragic. Who's he performing for? Leo, don't mention him again, it makes me nauseous. Leo muttered, she's really mad, guess she's not turning back. Then let the asshole rot. Mason's voice cut in, proud as ever. Leo hurried off the line. Okay, Win, I won't bug you again. Sure enough, after hanging around Joella my tongue had sharpened. Strange numbers began texting me daily, no more venom, just greetings. How are you today? Feeling okay? Happy jewelry arrived constantly, latest pieces from the brands I used to love. Expensive, exquisite, meticulously crafted. This was his trick for chasing girls, 2 words, annoying, cheap. The jewelry he hadn't had time to take back was displayed in the living room. Chase spotted it, picked up a piece, and turned it over in his fingers, laughing while he studied it. Which guy sent this? He doesn't even know you stopped liking this brand ages ago? I looked at him, delighted. How did you know I don't like it anymore? Every piece you wear these days is from a different label. If you really still liked this one, would you own nothing from them? President Colton, you're unbeatable. He set the trinket down and walked over. It was Mason, right? I was about to mail it back. Chase suddenly pocketed it. I'll return it for you, and guarantee he'll never dare send you anything again. I propped my chin in my hand. You're not jealous, are you? He slipped an arm around my waist. I'm holding the real thing in my arms. Why would I be jealous? That trust made me feel grounded, safe. I turned, draped my arms around his neck, and couldn't resist kissing him. So good. His breath hitched. He lifted me off the stool, kissing me as he walked, our clothes peeling away with every step. Chase had someone fasten Mason's jewels around a dog's neck, then paraded the animal through the company lobby, megaphone in hand, yelling for the owner to claim his gifts. In the video, the veins on Mason's forehead looked ready to burst. Joella laughed until she rolled off the couch, tears streaming. Chase is fucking brilliant. Mason's little princeling ass has never eaten humble pie like this, dying here. Sure enough, no more packages ever arrived. I only received one message, Win, you went too far, trampling my heart like that. When he trampled other people, he never stopped to consider karma. You deserved it. Can't you give me one more chance? No, my reply was absolute, silence followed. I thought he'd finally given up, until Leo rang me near midnight, claiming Mason was in the hospital, hovering between life and death. Impatient, I said, I'm not a doctor. Will my showing up bring him back to life? When, we were classmates once. You won't even spare one look? That heartless? Joella saw you guys line up 10 girls last night. What, did he screw himself to death? They couldn't keep the story going and hung up first. 13 I powered the phone off, tossed it as I'd, and burrowed into Chase's arms, squirming until I found a comfortable spot and drifted back to sleep. Chase cradled me, then asked suddenly, if he really were dying, would your heart soften? I'll hire a band to send him off. Chase burst out laughing. Ruthless. Work had been frantic, so I switched to a new number, no more garbage to taint my peace. Chase had a project with a tight deadline. After a month of overtime he finally had breathing room. I had just wrapped my design boards and could afford some downtime. We agreed on a quick getaway, tentatively Bali. I asked for tips on Instagram and got a flood of replies within minutes. The next day, Warren called out of the blue and ordered me home. The moment I stepped inside, he and Victoria launched into an interrogation. Why had I broken up with Mason? Calmly I answered, he doesn't love me, and he keeps a harem out there. Warren erupted. Men like to play, completely normal, especially someone from the sterling tier. What good is love? Cash is what counts. I can support myself. I don't need his money. You may not, but does Hartley not? Selfish girl, everything's about you. I'm your daughter, not some bargaining chip. I won't be with Mason again. If you want the merger so badly, marry Dylan off to him. Victoria shot to her feet, jabbing a finger at me. Watch your mouth. Look at yourself, you bring nothing to the table. Aside from Sterling, who would even want you? Stop spurning heaven's gift. I kept my voice even. I define my own worth, and I already have a boyfriend. Victoria sneered, hands on hips. Oh? You think you can land anyone better than Mason? Why haven't you paraded him home? Don't tell me you're shacking up with some thug. Warren barked, whoever he is, dump him and go back to Mason. Home is where logic goes to die, this home never even met it. I stormed out, fury rising with every step. Mason's fingerprints were all over this family pressure play. I rang him and let loose a torrent of curses. Until tears overtook me, every grievance of the past years pouring out. Mason stayed on the line, silent, and after a long pause murmured, I'm sorry, Win. 14 Those words froze me. When pigs fly, Mason apologizes. I hissed, get lost. When Chase came home I was curled on the sofa. Seeing my red eyes, he flung the documents aside and rushed over. Who bullied you? In the past, whenever I felt wronged, Mason snapped at me for wearing a mourning face. The memory snapped my last thread of control and I sobbed into Chase's chest. He held me until the tears subsided, then coaxed the whole story out of me. Face hard, he said, leave it to me. I don't want you tangled with them, they're vampires, demons. They'll drag you into endless messes. Trust me. The next morning an online bombshell detonated. Conclusive photos surfaced, Mason's non-stop carousel of women, videos of him slipping into private clubs. Overnight I became the internet's poor queen, applauded for dumping the scumbag. Warren and Victoria texted faux concern, then rang to curse Mason as trash and praised my empowered decision. I replied coldly, stay out of my life from now on. Victoria adopted a honeyed tone. Of course, of course. Mother was short-sighted before, just looking out for you. From now on be happy with President Colton, no quarrels, okay? Hypocrites. Spare me your worries. Yes, yes, none of our business, as long as you're happy. Ing, darling, the company could use. I hung up mid-sentence, knew they were after something. I cooked a full table of dishes to reward Chase. Halfway through, the doorbell rang, only 5 o'clock, he was home early. I opened the door, Mason stood outside. 15 I tried to slam it shut, he wedged a hand against the jamb, eyes pleading. Win, are you really leaving me for good? Move or I call the police. These days without you, I've realized how much I miss you. I was wrong before. Don't be with Chase, please. His words turned my stomach. Listening to you makes me sick. He raised a photo frame, inside, the charred high school uniform photo I'd burned. Staring at it, I felt suddenly unmoored. Mason's eyes were shot with red, his hands shaking. I hunted down every classmate till I found these pictures and had them reprinted. You kept them for 10 years, and I never once treated them like they mattered. Then his voice cracked and the tears came. Leo was right, I was a bastard. I lost the one person who ever loved me for real. Win, just give me one more chance, please. My no stung. So he could speak this sweetly, could be this thoughtful. But in my memories the dominant colors were coldness, boredom. The photos were still the old photos, yet the people had long since turned into strangers. I wiped the tears away, sharp-tongued. Mason, affection that shows up late is cheaper than weeds. I don't need wilted cabbage. Mason grew frantic, roaring, "Where is Chase better than me? He's nothing but a vulture who swooped in." I didn't want to argue, but he shoved the door harder. The impact sent me reeling backward onto the couch. Mason stepped inside. "Get out!" I screamed. He looked rabid, every line of him predatory, biting off each word. I swallowed my pride to come here. "You owe me an answer." His expression said he could devour me. Every hair on my body rose. "Don't come any closer." Panicked, I grabbed my phone to call 911 and rummaged for something to defend myself. The next second Mason was hauled backward by the scruff of his neck and flung aside. Chase's fists were already swinging, pounding him over and over, venting years of fury. The room dissolved into chaos. Chase trained regularly, Mason never stood a chance. Blood speckled the floor. Afraid it would go too far, I rushed in and pulled them apart. Chase checked his strength, cupped my shoulders. "Did he hurt you?" I shook my head, cradling his bloodied knuckles. "You're bleeding, does it hurt?" "When?" Mason spat my name through clenched teeth. I never looked at him. "Aga." "In." I dialed 911 and then the paramedics. Mason ended up with multiple minor fractures and a hospital room. The lobby camera told the story. After statements, the cops classified it as criminal trespass and intimidation on Mason's part, self-defense on ours. Both the Sterling and Hartley patriarchs showed up, too much status on either side, and pushed for a settlement. Chase refused and drew me forward. "The victim is Win, whether we settle is her call." I hated confrontations and tugged frantically at his sleeve. Chase laced his fingers through mine, voice gentle. "Don't be scared, Win. I'm right here." I'm all bluster. Faced with the city's two top power brokers, I froze, tongue-tied. Finally Mason's father spoke. "Win, the boy acted like a thug. I'll discipline him when we get home. For the sake of the ties between our families, could you let this slide, just this once?" Sterling was famously smooth, his words silk-lined. I had no wish to prolong the mess and took the offered ladder down. As we left, Chase told Sterling icily, "Chairman Sterling, keep your son on a tighter leash. I don't want my fiancé frightened like this again." Sterling smiled without losing an ounce of poise. "Apologies for the trouble." Once the fiasco was wrapped, Chase and I finally set off on our trip. The man had chartered a private jet straight out. Just before boarding, my phone pinged with an unknown number. "Win, I'm not giving you up." Disgusting. I powered the phone off. Inside the cabin everything had been staged: snow-white gardenias, scented candles, foie gras, a bottle of red, cozy and romantic. Delighted, I laughed. "It's only a few hours and you went this far?" Chase poured the wine. Pleasure doesn't wait for perfect timing. I bent to sniff the gardenias. The clean fragrance took me back to boarding school. "You remembered I love gardenias. Your textbooks were always full of dried ones. When I accidentally stepped on a petal, you cried. My mom made those for me, that's why it hurt." Chase looked like a scolded kid. "Sorry, I didn't know." "It's okay, ancient history. You paid me back with that whole basket of blossoms." He scratched his neck shyly, pulled out my chair, and cued soft music. We lost ourselves in wine, food, and easy stories. Sudden turbulence sloshed my drink across my blouse. I ducked into the lav to change, only a nightgown in the tote, and it turned out to be Joella's idea of priceless sleepwear, a sheer white lace negligee. I cursed her under my breath. The cabin aircon froze the damp fabric to my skin, so I had no choice. The cloth clung, almost see-through, barely covering the essentials. I wrapped a shawl tight around my torso and hovered behind the door. I poked my head out. "Chase, could you hand me the suitcase?" "What's wrong?" He started over. Don't come closer." 18 alarmed, he covered the distance in 2 strides. I yelped and crouched, hugging my knees. He knelt, tilting his head. "Feeling sick? I need clothes." "Didn't you just change?" "It's pajamas." "It's fine. We'll land on the hotel lawn, no one else around." I couldn't speak, my cheeks burned. He felt my forehead. "You're hot. Let me carry you." Before I could protest, he scooped me up. I squeaked and buried my face in his neck. "Don't look." He set me gently on the sofa. I hid behind my hands. Chase eased them away. "Win, you're beautiful." He kissed my eyelids, my nose, my chin. I clung to him, mumbling, "Joella snuck this in. I didn't know. I'm not the type, doesn't even suit me." Chase cupped my face, utterly serious. "You look stunning. You'd look stunning in anything." Soft and low, he said, Win, you are the best Win in the world. From now on, whatever you do, do it with confidence, alright? Okay. My thoughts floated, I could only follow his lead. Win, are you comfortable?